Greetings, kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome to our world of darkness, where today I believe we're doing episode 7. Woo! That is loud. Let's do that. Yes. Anyway, I believe today is episode 7 of Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York, and we're going to continue on with the adventures of our dear Brujah Eric. So, really wanted to get into that blood sorcerer here. It's a kind of magic. You're walking down the street towards your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted this time of night. In New York City, there are plenty of passerby going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible. Distinguishable from normal humanity. Indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker, or a kindred thrall tailing your movements? Are the officers idly waiting in a patrol car, ordinary cops, or Second Inquisition specialists, looking to end undead threats? This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon, and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven, settle in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. As you wake from your slumber and emerge from your haven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the side of the street, standing on the corner, looking straight at you. It's Kaiser's lackey you met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach. His hands are outside of his pockets, and he seems pretty relaxed. He's keeping his eyes on the street, though, as if making sure you're alone. He smiles awkwardly when you approach. Evening. Got something for you from our mutual friend. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it to you. Read it, memorize it, then give it back here. It's a letter. The paper might just be a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberate. It reads, "Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop at 232 Mulberry Street, and ask for the 1821 Special Reserved Donatello Negromaro. When they tell you they don't have it, say you are a fidel servitor della Familiaci." Wow, those exact fucking words. And make sure you get the G right. You'll get a bottle. Just take it and leave by saying grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else. Just walk out. When you have it, come back to Jackie Boy here and let me know. And let him know. You done? Memorize that shit and hand it over. Didn't peg your boss for a letter kind of guy. It's electronic communication, his whole stick. Yeah, well, some things are better done the old fashioned way. You about done with the letter? You note the phrase, an address mentioned in the letter. Then, hand it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting out the ashes with his foot. So yeah, when you do what the boss asks, come back here so I can tell you where to go next. I'll be in the alley over there, so find me when you have that item. Whatever it is. I don't know, and the boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't care. So I don't. See ya. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. Time to pay a visit to Nolita. You arrive at the address mentioned in the note. Not counting local restaurant patrons, the street is almost empty at this time of night, but, curiously, the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small middle-aged woman with curly hair stands behind the counter in front of a wall filled with wine bottles. There's a door at the back of the room, with a small table and chair, occupied by a man in a black faux leather jacket with silk comb-back hair. Slick. He's reading a newspaper, but pauses as a little bell rings when you open the door. He takes a sip from a small, steaming cup, then gets back to his broadsheet. Good evening. How can I help you? I would like a bottle of the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Moro, please. Let me check our stock. She seems to be looking through a database on a laptop, sitting on the counter. She puts on a polite smile. I'm afraid we don't have that one at the moment. Sorry. I am a fidel servitor della famiglia. G. Oh shit, you're claiming to be Giovanni. Ah, in that case, let me see if we have any in the back. Wait here, please. The woman leaves the counter and goes through the door in the back. The man at the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip of the cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from a nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. You remind yourself of what Kaiser wrote in the letter and keep quiet, patiently waiting for the woman to return from the back of the store. The man finishes his drink and starts doodling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you every so often. The door to the back of the store open, and the proprietor emerges with a small, unlabeled, squat bottle of crimson liquid. She gives you an apologetic smile. Scusi, sorry for taking so long. Turns out, we did have it. She offers you the bottle, and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. You do know what this is, don't you? Of course, your blood. And you focus your blood and immediately see both of the people in the shop focus intently on you and what you're about to say. I know exactly what this is, and I'm the right person to give it to. The woman gives you the bottle without hesitation. Grazie. Deciding you've pushed your luck far enough, you nod and exit the store. Then take a brisk walk to your car. Nobody follows you as you leave Nolita and drive back to your apartment. It takes you some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie. He's not far from where you parted ways just under 2 hours ago. Got the goods? I sure do. Cool. Stand by. Gotta make the call. He takes a few more steps into a narrow space between the buildings. Takes out the same high-tech phone you saw him carrying last night. Hey, boss. Yeah, they have it. Where do I, point them to? Okay, yeah. I'll tell them to go there right away. He puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. Willet Point. Half an hour, so you better step on it. See you around. With only a flippant salute, Jackie starts walking down the street. You make your way back to the car and drive. You had to push the speed limit to make it on time, but you're here. Willet's Point is quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump. Nearby stadium, notwithstanding. You stop your car once you realize that if you go any further down, the potholes will kill your chassis. You step out into one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashing in ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted. Other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar, a middle-aged woman who's just locking the place up. This is too perfect an opportunity not to take advantage of. I'm going to piss off Kaiser. She's walking to her car, ready to call it a night when you sneak up on her. She's far too tired to resist your strong hold and swift bite. You can taste the caffeine in her veins, smell the cheap cigarettes in her hair, the old cooking grease on her clothes, and she passes out. Your assault, the closing note of a long day at work. You let her down gently and feel the pangs of remorse. You pick up the car keys she dropped and place her in the driver's seat. She'll find an explanation for passing out like this, for sure. The bright lights of a car pulling over down the road illuminate you as you close the door. It's a black limousine. Kaiser is finally here, it would seem. Same as last time, the car door opens, but nobody comes out. You know the drill this time. Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you. So, you pulled it off without a hitch, then. Give it here. You hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently, takes a whiff, and puts the cork back in. Yes. That's the stuff. Good job, kid. Consider your debt paid. Oh, yes. And also take this. It's what Langley wanted. He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Yeah, yeah. I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to go out. Now. He waves you out of the car with the envelope in hand. You get out, back onto the torn asphalt and discreet surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill, unpleasant laugh, and you realize Sophie's having a guest over. He's the man from Elysium, the one with the glasses and good taste in suits. You didn't have the chance to talk to him last time you saw him. Oh, Eric. So glad to see you. Tell me, did the two of you previously meet? The man doesn't wait for your answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts his hand out. Thomas Arturo. I've heard about you. Pleasure, pleasure. Thomas is a great source of gossip and an excellent conversationalist. I also have the prince's ear, which is the primary reason dear Miss Langley wished to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even coming from me, isn't nearly as valued. Sad. Sophie is taken aback by the man's direct comment, but smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guest's grated laughter. I kid, of course, I kid. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I'll leave you two to it. Good night, Sophie, Eric, Gregory, my boy. Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo, and the guest steps out with a single wave of a hand towards his host and you. The door closes. He's quite the character, isn't he? Yes, quite. But he has his uses. Thomas has clout in court and access to many juicy details on everyone from the prince to the lowest primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricities require some patience. Speaking of patience, you've been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked for? Yes, I have it. But the data you offered was old news to him. I had to do another job for him before he would give me this card. She retrieves the envelope from you. I'm sure he did. I do hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience. He made me go into an entirely separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from the store in Nolita. I had to use a code phrase and whatnot. Wine shop. Code phrase. That degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated, but calms down and smiles at you. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You notice the same lettering you saw in Kaiser's note from before, but can't see the details. Her eyes widen. Yes, excellent. I need to call in some favors. I will likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear Charge. I will contact you soon. With that, Sophie ushers you outside, and you are left to do with the rest of this night's hours as you like. What is that? Recently. I want to get to this guy, but somebody's watching me. Part 1. Recently, you're feeling as if somebody's keeps tailing you. Time to confirm your suspicions. This sucks. I really want to get to that Tremere, but I also don't want anybody to follow me to where I'm going. Someone is following you around, has been for a few nights, maybe longer. You can't, that can't be a good thing. The only question is what to do about it. You venture out into the street with the goal of letting your stalker know you're aware you're being followed. It's time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining outside, and as you step onto the street in front of your haven, you wonder whether that'll help you. Will you be able to see the footprints of your stalker in puddles on the ground? Not sure where to start, you slip a few bills in the homeless man and chat up the guy who runs the local bodega. Both of them talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around, but none of their stories seem right with you. Walking the streets, you're convinced by turns that everyone you see is an enemy agent out to get you, and that your stalker has decided to take the night off. Frustrated after a couple of hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A courier on a motorbike zooms towards you and has no time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in front of him. For a split second, your eyes meet those of a man on a bike, and both of you collide. You'll get hurt. Something hits you, pushes you forward. You tumble, flying to the sidewalk, and the courier zooms past. You feel the weight of your back, catch a glimpse of something, a person, female, you think, and then she disappears. You could spend a couple more hours trying to find the woman who's been stalking you, but in your shriveled, undead heart, you know it'll be futile. She's gone. Oh, we need rest. Damn. Alright, well, I think, since we're just going to go night by night, that will handle us for today. Let's see if we got anything new in our dictionary. Nope, no new words. Well, in that case, thank you very much for joining me. I am Voivode Maquette. This is Our World of Darkness, and that was our 7th video of Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York, judging with our dear little Brujah Eric and his adventures. Thank you, Miss Langley, for all the adventures that you're giving me. Now, with that said, thank you for joining me. Like, share, subscribe, and all the rest of that YouTube shit. And I will see you next time in Our World of Darkness. Thank you.